Khabbab ibn al-Aratt is undeniably one of the most inspiring figures in early Islamic history. As one of the first people to embrace Islam, he demonstrated the kind of unwavering faith that, honestly, it's hard to even comprehend today. Imagine standing firm in a belief that brought you nothing but hardship and pain. That was Khabbab's life. Now, Khabbab wasn't, born into privilege or wealth. He was a slave, and honestly, that made his decision to follow Islam even more profound. The courage it took for a person in his position to declare faith in a new religion, when he knew that it would bring severe consequences, is just remarkable. And those consequences weren't just hypothetical for Khabbab. He endured horrific torture. There are accounts, really vivid ones, about how his master would press burning hot iron onto his back, leaving scars that, stayed with him for life. It's said that he was made to lie on burning coals, with his back pressed down until the flesh on his bones burned. Can you even imagine the level of endurance, the level of faith it takes to bear that kind of pain and not waver? But Khabbab didn't just endure these trials, he survived them, and eventually he overcame. When he was granted his freedom, he didn't hold on to anger or resentment. Instead, he took that freedom and turned it toward a life of service and devotion. It's like his scars became symbols, not just of his suffering, but of his commitment to something far greater than himself. There's one story about Khabbab that really sticks with me. Once, someone asked him to show the marks of his torture, and when he did, they, gasped at the sight. But Khabbab didn't narrate his pain with bitterness or for pity. He spoke about it as a price he was willing to pay for his faith. That kind of selflessness, that perspective, it's profound. And isn't it fascinating how, even today, we see people who remind us of Khabbab, people who stand up for their beliefs, despite facing relentless opposition, whether it's activists standing firm against injustice, or individuals in oppressive regimes fighting for their basic rights, their dignity. These stories echo Khabbab's resilience. His bravery isn't just history, it's a lesson, a living example, really, of what it means to stand for what you believe in, no matter the cost. Imam Ali's tribute to Khabbab ibn al-Aratt is truly extraordinary. I mean, think about it. The way he highlighted Khabbab's life shows just how much respect and admiration he had for this remarkable man. Imam Ali didn't just speak about Khabbab's actions, he used them as an example of pure, unwavering faith. First, let's look at how Imam Ali described his conversion. He said Khabbab accepted Islam willingly. That's not a small statement. It tells us that Khabbab didn't come to Islam because of fear, pressure, or some other personal gain. He embraced it wholeheartedly, and that choice shaped everything else in his life. And then, he migrated willingly. This wasn't just a physical journey, it was a total commitment to living his faith, even if it meant leaving behind his homeland and all that was familiar. It was a decision made with full awareness of the sacrifices it entailed. How many of us, would be able to uproot ourselves for our principles like that? Imam Ali also emphasized Khabbab's perseverance through hardship. He said he lived as a warrior, enduring trials in his own body. Imagine the kind of resilience it takes to withstand such suffering and still remain steadfast, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. That's the kind of fortitude Khabbab had, drawing strength from his faith to keep going, no matter what. But what really stands out to me is how Imam Ali framed Khabbab's reward. He called him part of the al-Ridwan, the people of divine contentment. It's not just a title, it's like a declaration that his sacrifices were seen, valued, and that they carried him to the highest spiritual reward. Can you imagine what kind of faith someone must have had to be granted such an honour? And isn't it interesting how these kinds of stories are still, so relatable? Think about the people today who dedicate their lives to causes they believe in, despite facing immense difficulties. Whether it's, aid workers in conflict zones, or even individuals standing up against corruption at great personal risk. They remind us of Khabbab's life, his sacrifices, and his courage. When we look at the values that Imam Ali highlighted in Khabbab's life, humility, authenticity, compassion, generosity, and choosing words wisely, it's not just admiration that comes to mind. These aren't abstract ideals, they're incredibly practical, timeless traits that anyone can strive to bring into their day-to-day life. Take, for instance, humility. What does it mean to humble oneself? Well, in today's world, it might start with acknowledging that we don't know everything, that other perspectives matter. It's about listening more, whether that's to colleagues, friends, or even strangers. and being open to learning without letting ego get in the way. You'd be amazed how much you grow simply by accepting that, you don't have all the answers. And then there's authenticity, being true to who you are no matter who's watching. I think we all feel the pressure sometimes to put on a mask, to fit into what we think people want us to be. But living authentically, like Khabbab did, means acting with integrity, even when it's inconvenient. It's not easy, but honestly, it's the foundation for trust. Trust in yourself and trust from others. When we talk about compassion and generosity, it's not just about material giving, though that certainly is a part of it. It's about showing up for people, offering a helping hand, or even a kind word. In a world that can often feel isolating, small acts of kindness become kind of revolutionary. And let's not forget the importance of balance. Like Imam Ali said, generosity doesn't have to mean giving until you have nothing left. It's about sharing what you can, when you can. Now, judicious speech, using your words wisely, might seem simple, but it's so powerful. Imagine a world where we all thought before we spoke, filtering out unnecessary negativity, avoiding gossip, and choosing instead to uplift and encourage. Words have weight, and choosing them carefully can shape relationships, build respect, and even diffuse conflicts before they escalate. The beautiful thing about these virtues is that they transcend time and circumstances. They remind us that what truly matters isn't how much we accumulate or how impressive we seem, but how we treat others and how authentic we are in our journey. They ground us in something bigger, something that lasts beyond material achievements. So as we end this episode and reflect on the life of Khabbab ibn al-Aratt, let's take a moment to consider how we can embody even a fraction of the virtues he demonstrated. Maybe it's a small act of humility, a moment of authentic kindness, or even just listening a little more before we speak. Whatever it is, it's about striving for better. Not perfection, but growth, step by step. And that's all for today. Khabbab's story is timeless, his virtues a guide, and his example a beacon of resilience and faith. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep reflecting, keep growing, and stay inspired.